Imagine an architect publishing a detailed report on why his own signature building might collapse. Late in his career, Plato did exactly that. He wrote a dialogue whose entire purpose seems to be demolishing his most cherished idea, the theory of forms. Why would he do this? To see why this was a crisis, we need to see what was at stake. The theory of forms is the eternal, perfect realities behind appearances, the unchanging blueprints that make true knowledge possible. For Plato, this wasn't one idea among many, it was the load-bearing wall of his entire system. Threaten the forms, and everything resting on top of them is in danger. Now the crack. In a dialogue called the Parmenides, Plato turns his sharpest critical weapons against his own theory. He raises devastating objections, problems serious enough that he can't simply wave them away. The man who built a foundation is the one taking a hammer to it, and once those cracks are exposed, knowledge, morality, and just politics all start to look unsteady. Here's the telling detail. Between the Parmenides and Plato's response, there's a gap of 10 to 15 years. He didn't fix the problem overnight. He sat with it. That silence matters. It tells us these objections were deep and lingering, not trivial puzzles he dismissed. A great mind spent over a decade haunted by a crack in his own foundation. So why didn't he just give up? Why not abandon a broken theory? Because abandoning the forms means abandoning everything they hold up, the whole moral and political order he hoped to build, his republic, his vision of justice, his life's project. To let go of the forms is to let the entire structure fall. Plato simply couldn't bring himself to do it. Instead, Plato does what an engineer does with a cracked building. He brings in reinforcements. In the Sophist, he develops new logical tools. First, the method of division or taxonomy, carving concepts into precise categories. Second, an analysis of negation, accounting for what is not. Third, a real theory of falsehood, explaining how a statement can be false yet still mean something. These aren't decorations. They're structural supports, deployed wherever they prove useful and necessary to keep the system standing. Here's the crucial nuance. This is a stopgap, not a triumph. Plato reinforces, he does not rebuild. The crack is braced, but it's still there. We don't actually know whether he believed he'd fully solved the problems of the Parmenides. The honest reading is that he salvaged what he could and kept working. Reinforcement, not resurrection. And this tells us something larger about how philosophy actually advances. Look at what Plato did. He attacked his own most cherished idea in public. That's a model of intellectual honesty rarely matched in history. The very crisis pushed him to invent logical machinery, the analysis of being, non-being, and falsehood that became foundational for logic itself. The crack produced the tools. Sometimes the most productive moments in intellectual history come not from confident success, but from a thinker's refusal to let go of something he can no longer fully defend. Plato found the crack in his own foundation, and rather than walk away, he reached for new tools. The rescue mission moved philosophy forward.